just 3 to 4 kilometers from the Enugu government house. At 7:30 a.m. on May 30th, typically a peak period, the junction is a shadow of its usual bustling self. Here is another major junction in Enugu from the NYSC office towards ShopRite. It's 7:39 a.m. on May 30th and the area is notably scanty, a stark contrast to its usual activity. Sometimes the IPOB Sit-at-Home orders, has variations. Sometimes you don't even know which one is which one. It got confusing of so much so that IPOB themselves came out and said they are done with the sit-at-home thing. They didn't do it again. They started it though, because it was hijacked by people. People started using it as a threat to anytime they want to perpetrate some evil, anytime they want to sharpen their muscle or to flex their muscle, they just come and announce, say everybody sit at home. And this thing, they spread it on WhatsApp. Even as journalists, sometimes I don't even know there's a sit at home. It's somebody that comes to tell me, have you heard that there's a sit at home? I say, which sit at home? I didn't hear anything. And then that day comes, you see, the road will be so dry. It became so overwhelming. Between 2018, 2019, all the way to 2023, 2024. In fact, up until last year, in fact, we still had issues. Anytime there's a Nnamdi Kanu was going to court, they tend to say people should sit at home. It was just so crazy. I can only imagine the amount of monies that Igbos have lost with just sitting at home, and the amount of monies that businesses have lost just by just sitting at home. People who are proponents of that will argue that, look, that sacrifice is small peanuts compared to what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu did in order to call the attention of the federal government to the marginalization of the people of Ndigbo. But sometimes in my head I think through these things. I say, okay, so you are calling for some things to happen, and the only way you can call for that thing to happen is to hurt yourself. Like, if that thing happens and if you hurt yourself, hoping that some things positive happen to what you have asked for, who bears the brunt of the hurt? Is it you who hurt yourself? Wouldn't you be hoping to be alive, to be sane and safe, so that when that positive things happen, you can gain from it, you can be good for it? Because I really don't get the idea. I know that sit at home is a way of protest, used so many years ago. So many persons have used that, and I don't want to go into the history of that, but if someone decides to sit at home, it's their business. I mean, nobody will come and force it from your house to come and work now. When Peter Mbak came into power in 2023, he tried several things. He met with the market stakeholders, met with businesses, especially market people. He after the meeting, he now placed an order and said, anybody who doesn't open his shop on a Monday would be closed and closed permanently. In fact, would forfeit the shop. That didn't go down well with a lot of people who were marketers at the time who owned shops, because there was this back and forth about it. That was the first few months he came into power. There was this back and forth about it, but I think it was finally resolved, and everybody is now answering their father's name. If you like, no come now. It's your business. But something I wanted to highlight is the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is still being incarcerated. As far as I'm concerned, the law has spoken about Nnamdi Kanu, and I just feel that there are people who have continually kept Nnamdi Kanu in custody because they are making monies from his incarceration. if they release him, they start losing money, or they stop making money. When I heard the amount of monies that some persons make the days Nnamdi Kanu come to court, I started. I said that this can't be possible. Well, I'm not going to release that information here. I'm not going to release it. It's not that information is not for it's not for this platform. That's Nnamdi Kanu, by staying in custody, they make a huge amount of money. And also, now it makes sense that the reason why they are keeping this guy is not that he has anything to answer. Because again, with the way the court case is even going, it's beginning to look childish. It's beginning to look like we're still going to get to that tail end of where we went to, where we got to under Buhari, where the judges at the time saw what was going on and said, release this guy. They pronounced him free. He is on bail, he should go. But the president at the time said no, they're not going to release him. You render somebody from Kenya and you expect and the law was clear on rendering. It's so terrible. So I just said to myself, look, this Nnamdi Kanu matter, it is now clear why these guys are holding him. Not he didn't do nothing. In fact, I'm sure that they are putting him in a place where it's cozy. Let him stay alive. The money that are making on top of his head is just what these people are after. And you'll be shocked that even Igbos are involved in that nonsense that they're doing. So this sit-at-home thing coming up on the 30th that they have pronounced. Most of the time, because I'm a journalist, I move a lot. So I don't get stopped. But I can't say the same for any other person. I don't get stopped because I'm a journalist. I'm covering the happening, on the daily basis. Like I said, this particular report that is playing right now was what I did last year. I think I'll play for you guys to watch the report. I did last year, and I highlighted how empty the street was as at morning hours. It's always like that in the mornings, and then people just look at what's going on, and then thereafter from say 10, 11, 12, things start clearing out and people start continuing their life. The 30th day is just remembering the heroes, people who died during the war. That's basically what it is. People should stay back at home. There are several ways people can commemorate that kind of thing. People may not necessarily want to stay back at home. People might want to do something different. Might come out to their offices, can come out to work, might come out to even meet friends and talk about it, might even watch movies in that regard, or maybe even meet with friends and discuss how those days impacted today's world. So you can't really tell people this is the way, this is the way they should celebrate or commemorate it. So having said that, I just allow you to watch the report for last year, but hopefully this year, on the 30th of May, I'll also do a report in that regard, giving you up to date about the happenings around the streets of Enugu and how people are reacting to the order given by IPOB. Tell me what you think. I'd always love to hear from you, as always. Thank you. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, declared May 30th as Biafra Heroes Day to honor the memories of Igbo people who lost their lives during the Nigerian Civil War from 1967 to 1970. The group announced that there would be restrictions on movement and that businesses would remain closed in the region on May 30. Signature Television took to the streets to capture the level of compliance with these movement restrictions and business closures. This is Otiba Junction, a busy landmark in the heart of Enugu, located just 3 to 4 kilometers from the Enugu government house. At 7:30 a.m. on May 30th, typically a peak period, the junction is a shadow of its usual bustling self. Here is another major junction in Enugu, from the NYSC office towards ShopRite. It's 7:39 a.m. on May 30th, and the area is notably scanty, a stark contrast to its usual activity. The New Haven Tunnel which connects the city of Enugu with suburbs like Emene, Airport Road and Thinkers Corner, is also much quieter than usual, reflecting the widespread observance of the day. However, in a statement issued on Tuesday by the Enugu State government through the head of service, says that workers who fail to be in their duty posts on the day will attract summary dismissal from service in line with the enabling provisions of the public service rules. The government stated that the purported public holiday sit-at-home will have far-reaching consequences on the academic pursuit of children who are taking part in the ongoing senior secondary school certificate examinations. The Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War, took place from July 6, 1967 to January 15, 1970. The conflict resulted in an estimated 1 to 3 million deaths, mostly due to starvation and disease. The Nigerian government pursued a policy of no victor, no vanquished, focusing on reintegration and reconstruction, although tensions and ethnic divisions persist. The Nigerian Civil War remains a significant event in the country's history, shaping its ethnic relations and political landscape.